Sha'Carri was arrested and the footage is going viral and everyone is covering the story now because even though it happened like a month ago, it's of course now being picked up by everybody. Let's watch the arrest tape because apparently people felt like she did too much. She was talking too much. She was giving herself away too much, basically. It's 30 minutes long, and I think we should watch it and understand it as what it is, and then we'll watch her statement about her thoughts afterwards, basically. But this is just the police cam, and I think it's interesting. Again, I don't support anything that she did in that airport lounge. And I will say this because some people were saying, what if he cheated? Okay, and look, cheating is abuse, but not all abuse warrants hands. Your parents abusing you doesn't mean you can hit them. Do you know what I'm saying? Self-defense is self-defense, but her being in an airport was not self-defense. And for people saying like, what if he cheated though? So? And? Horrible, dump him, but like you can't put hands on him because he cheated. You can't put hands on people just because it's abusive. You know, that's not what justice is. We want healed forms of justice. Okay?
On July 27th, 2025, Olympic sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson was arrested at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, and the reason shocked the sports world. Surveillance cameras caught her shoving and pushing her boyfriend, fellow sprinter Christian Coleman. And now, we have the exclusive body cam footage of the moment police took her into custody. You're about to see it all unfiltered.
No, I had one good in my bag. You need to see it? This one that I can't see right here. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I had to get my special bag. Is there anything else that you could let me know? Because now that you have these officers involved, is there anything I need to?
Yeah, why don't you come talk to me over here? Come talk to me over here.
I would never talk to you again. Hello, hi.
Hey,
So we're in a relationship. I will no longer mess with him or what he had going on. He has some stuff in his bag. I just need to get out of my bag.
Okay.
My iPad, some clothes. I can take it out, put it in my suitcase, brought his bag back. That's pretty much it. But we have a relationship, this, kind of thing going on right now. But yeah, exactly. If I brought his bag back, I took all of my belongings out, I would leave him alone. You don't have to worry about me. I have a flight coming up for myself. Like I said, I'm on the phone right now. I have all of my belongings, but you don't have to worry about me while I'm in the airport with him at all. I just have to get my belongings out.
Do you have your ID on you? And boarding pass by chance?
Yeah, do you need my ID for what? If you don't mind me asking?
Investigating a possible assault.
Assault?
That's
Oh,
what we-
Kristen,
Not
I
right here.
assaulted you?
Hey. Listen.
Chris, I assaulted you? Okay.
I'm talking to you.
I'm so sorry. I'm just making
It's
sure.
not him that reported it.
Oh,
One of
okay.
the TSA folks.
Pause. So she looks at him and goes, oh, I assaulted you? Is that what I did? Yeah, it is what you did. Yeah, it is. Like, okay, remember how we talked about Huda and Chris? And Ethan was like, oh, that's sexual assault. That's sexual assault. Okay, this was assault. Like, this was literally assault. She got physical. She shoved him, pushed him, chased him, right? Like, this was actually assault, right? One was a toxic miscommunication in which people were begging because you could just see the trauma in the scene, right? With Huda. This, though trauma plays a role in this 100%, because look, most abuse, in my opinion, is preventable. Most people who end up abusive and toxic were raised that way, whether you know it or not. And I think that's the problem is like what I think is true about people, talk about philosophy, right? Is that we are not only products of our environment, but we are not acknowledging how much that is true. We say it, but we don't really embody it or understand it. I do think most abusers, male abusers, female abusers, whatever you want to say, I think they are raised to be abusive by parents who don't even know that that's what they're doing because they don't see themselves as abusive. And it's all preventable, which is why we're not saying you were traumatized as a way to excuse the behavior. We're explaining how it came to be. So here she is with her full chest, upset that the idea that she assaulted him is even reasonable when we know she assaulted him. It's on camera, right? So abuse, via abuse is not reasonable, but it is explainable. And then how do we avoid it? And this is what's so painful for parents is like, you don't understand the responsibility of bringing a person into the universe. And so you don't understand how you are contributing to your child being raised, thinking this is okay. I see it with my own parents. My parents, if I told you every good story about my family, you would think we were raised in a perfect home. If I told you every bad story about my family, you'd say, oh my God, you grew up fucked up. If I told you both in relationship to the other, you might downplay the abuse a little bit more, or you might even say I'm complaining, or you might even say like, that's not an abuse, that's a mistake. Okay, well, but think about how the ways that you neglected your children led them to being the adults they are today. Like my parents will blame everybody else, the liberal media, colleges, influence from partying before they ever turn it around on themselves. That's a part of the problem. You will see your kid struggled into adulthood, and instead of in any way thinking about how you contributed to it and how to prevent it in the future, you will literally blame everybody else. Okay? So she is shocked. Me? Assaulted him? When? 2 seconds ago when we saw you shove him into the pillar?
I wanted the TSA people because I can definitely have evidence of him assaulting me if possible.
There's cameras everywhere.
Okay,
So,
but
you got
like I
ID on
said,
you?
yes I do. My name is Shakari Richardson. I do have my ID.
And by the way, if there's I know mutual abuse isn't really a thing, but if they're both in a toxic relationship where they have been taught to use physical abuse as a way to communicate, then they could be doing it to each other, right? But it doesn't cancel it out. It doesn't make one better than the other, right? That's the point. Is like maybe she was defending herself in public by shoving him into a pillar, or maybe she was using a form of communication she was taught coming up makes sense for her situation, which is universal. This isn't specific to Sha'Carri or her bubble or anything like that. This is a universal problem. Physical abuse, physical communication is way too normalized in the world, right? It's just too much. And yeah, Discord said it's also much more normalized to hit your kids in certain communities, and it's been proven to make people more prone to violence in the future. I was hit as a kid. My siblings were hit as kids. It doesn't make sense. Might come back from generation to generation that hit their kids. All these people on TikTok I see all the time, when did we stop hitting our kids? Why are we not hitting our kids? We stopped hitting our kids because it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but I would definitely leave him alone. There's nothing that I want to do with him anymore. Like I said, it was a relationship thing. I need to get myself out of his
Are you guys
bag.
on the same flight? Or?
We are later on in a day because our flight ended up getting delayed. We were supposed to be leaving around this time of day, but the flight got canceled, so the flight doesn't leave until 10 p.m. ish.
Okay.
So yeah, if you don't mind, can I step over here so I can share my ID?
That's fine.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, Sissy.
I assume her mask, or I do this in public, is I hire my pitch, my people voice is much like, oh my God, thank you so much. How are you? My people voice is, all my girlfriends, our people voices are very high elevated. It's just the way we're trained in culture. So I think that's what Sha'Carri's doing, is she's probably talking in her people voice, which is what I call my people voice. It's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Can I reach for my ID? So some people might read that as her being fake, but that's literally just having a people voice. It's just very normal. Most people do it. I've almost never heard nobody do customer service voice. It's like a customer service voice. I've never met a person who doesn't have a customer service voice. Okay.
So you hear me, right? So this is the position that Christian told me put me into, okay? Because he's a coward, and I don't want
Yeah, Discord said that's her code switching for sure.
anything to do with him at this point going forward. My name is Shakari.
Because again, just in case we need to say it, obviously white police officers, black woman, at the end of the day, racism is still prevalent in this country. And us knowing that she shoved Christian into that pillar doesn't take away from the fact that the police might use this as an excuse to abuse her, because racism is still alive in America. And these are police officers. So we need to make sure that now she's in a possibly dangerous and threatening situation to her life. Right? So we need to be very cautious about this, which is why I caution you from wanting abusers to be abused. I caution you from wanting to justify the state coming for people you don't like. Because remember, that's what let's pause, girls. The Trump administration is absolutely picking up people that you've decided to hate and sending them to El Salvador as an excuse to later use to get you pumped up to support their policy so they can use it against you. So remember not to celebrate the police coming for people you want to see punished, because the police will turn it on you in a second. Okay? So you need to make sure that we have these conversations out loud. This is why I do not believe in the police state. I do not believe in celebrating the abuse of abusers, because trust me, they'll call you an abuser the moment it's good for you. The moment it's good for you, they'll call you an abuser, okay? Let's see, Chet says, Brittany, she's definitely in the wrong, but do you think this story would be as prolific if she weren't a black woman? I think this story wouldn't be as prolific if she wasn't Sha'Carri Richardson. If he wasn't also Christian, whatever his name is. Apparently he's really famous. I don't know who he is. Sorry. I only know who the girls are. But they're famous people. This is a celebrity case. Okay? And so I think it's also that it's popular because it's who they are. And they're about to do Tokyo. They're going to go to Japan right now and run for the gold medal or whatever they're doing. I don't know. This isn't my bubble, girls, but apparently that's where they're headed. They're headed to go compete, right?
Have no problem with letting you know who I am. Haven't put my hands on him. We had an argument. I will be honest about that.
Okay, hold on. Let's repeat that.
With letting you know who I am. Haven't put my hands on him.
She said, haven't put my hands on him. We had an argument. So this is where Sha'Carri Lies. She goes, I haven't put my hands on him. We know that's not true. To be fair, though, and let's think about this. How many of you count putting your hands on people? How many of you think parents who discipline their kids are putting their hands on their kids? Because I know in the bubble I was raised in, putting hands on your kids does not count if you're spanking your kids or punishing them. Putting hands on your kids is when you physically like hit your kid in a way that is just over the line of not discipline. But what's really the difference? There is a nuanced difference. I will give people that. There is a nuanced difference, the difference between me calling CPS and not calling CPS, which I agree is a difference. There are plenty of times my dad hit us and we were disciplined that I was like, don't call CPS. Versus I've seen some kids disciplined and I'm like, call CPS. Call CPS right now. So I need us to be grown up enough to know that there is a difference, because I think there is a difference. Okay? And the same way, like, there is a difference between somebody having a 12-month affair in which they got someone pregnant and gave you STIs, and the difference between somebody like making eyes at somebody. Okay? Like, there's a difference here. It's all cheating, but like there's a difference. And so we need to constitute the difference. Cheating is cheating is cheating. But there is a difference in how we react to the situation. And this is what we need to train ourselves to do. Am I properly reacting to the situation? Okay? All cheating is cheating, but not all cheating warrants the same reaction. Okay? All physical violence is physical violence, but not all of it warrants the same reaction. So we need to talk about that, because that's where people will use it against you. That's where people won't understand the difference between being raised in a culture where we end a generational curse and holding people accountable with the fucking state, bro. The state, the government, you want the government to get involved in your family issues? Do you know what I'm saying? Be very careful when we're going to advocate for the state to come in and fuck with our families. And this is why I'm grateful nobody ever tried to call CPS on my family, because like, you stay out of our business, bruh. Stay out of our business, because we handled it well enough. But if the state had got involved, I would have been pissed. Now, does the state need to get involved sometimes? Yes. Do we all hate calling the cops? Yes. Do we on occasion need to even, because it's so bad, call the cops? Yes. And remember, that's the point. When it gets that bad, you need to call the cops. Now we know it's bad. Unless you're one of those cop-hungry Karens who are just calling the cops over everything, right? So we need to pay attention to that. Okay, we need to pay attention to it.
Argument, I'll be honest about that. The argument, and that's pretty much it. The argument pretty much is a liar. He lied about a couple things that's personally, just in a relationship. I pretty much also can't understand what a relationship is about, but he lied.
So people are saying, see, she hit him because he lied. You can't hit people because they lie, bro. But that's the point. People have been taught, oh, he cheated, I'm allowed to hit him. Oh, he did this, I can key his car. Carrie Underwood had that whole song, okay, about keying a man's car because he cheated. Y'all need to focus. Please focus. We have romanticized getting revenge on cheaters. We need to focus, right? Chat says, what about slapping a kid on top of their hand? How does chat feel about that? I believe in the 2-finger touch, and that's it. This is the 2-finger touch. Don't do that, okay? That's all you need with a kid. They'll be so fucking distraught. You don't need to hit the kid. You need to, hey, I call it the 2-finger touch. Don't ever do that again. And the kid is like, oh my God. Just use intimidation that gives them a sense of safety. I love you. Don't ever do that again. I mean it. I'm trying to keep you safe. You can talk to me about it. You can ask questions. Don't ever do that again. Don't hit the kid. There's no reason to bring actual pain to the kid via your violence. Bring kind of the fear of Christ in them with a look. Okay? With the look of respect. You better respect the situation. Kids don't need much more. We think they need more, but they don't.
He's a liar, and that was something that I kind of just grasped and emotionally.
And when I say the fear of Christ, I don't mean the fear for their safety. I mean the fear over the thing they did that could be a threat to them. So give them a space to ask questions and deconstruct it with you.
It's like that, you do your thing, but you're asking me for things that is within my possession, and for my right, I don't have to give it to you because it's in my possession. But when it came to the point that I saw that he chose to make it more about the police and things of that nature, that showed that he made a choice. So I just want to be more professional and just come professionally and let you know, like, hey, relationship thing, have no problem, and working with you guys, so I'm not hiding. Right. Mm-hmm.
Was there any type of physical?
Oh, P.S. guys, I do have it set on 1.25 speed. So she is talking faster than normal, and she's probably nervous because of the police, because who wouldn't be? I'm nervous over the police. Like, I get really anxious. I couldn't imagine being Sha'Carri in this situation, but I also have it sped up 1.25 because we don't listen to any video on one. So just FYI.
No, I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me. I will be honest.
Hit him with anything?
No, I have.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any type of physical assault?
No, I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me.
Hit
I will
him
be
with-
honest.
hit him with anything?
No, I haven't hit him with
Headphones,
anything.
something like that?
Not at all. He had headphones that were mine, and I just grabbed the headphones, but not physically. If you would like to ask me, you can ask him, but
Well,
I don't
my
want
partner's in
anything.
here, and I just want to get your side.
Okay,
So that's why
absolutely.
I'm
You can
asking
ask him whatever you need to ask.
Okay, hold on. So Sha'Carri says, no, we did not get physical. I did not touch him. He did not touch me. So obviously we know that's not true. And like, that's the part of it where I'm like, girl, like I get not wanting the cops involved and lying to the cops so you can settle it yourself, but you're literally on camera. Like you're literally on camera. There's no way. There's no way. You can't lie about this. Like that's the thing. Like, does she not realize she's on camera? So here it is. They're here, just a refresher for us. He's trying to walk away. She punches him. She literally punched him. Look, she hits him in the face, in the jaw. Okay, boom, shoulder checks him, hits him. Or I think she hits her shoulder. She hits his shoulder. And then right here, super aggressive, okay? And then he's trying to walk away. He's trying to ignore her. She shoves him into this. And then she just tells the police over here. Okay, right? Let's look at the difference. Hold on, I got to change the windows. Okay, look at this.
Any type of physical assault?
No, I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me. I will be honest.
Hit him with anything?
No, I haven't hit him with
Headphones, something
anything.
like that?
Not at all.
Girl. Chad says probably didn't think it was on film. The cop literally tells her there are cameras everywhere. So I'm going to ask you questions. He literally warns her there are cameras all over the airport. I'm going to ask you some questions. And then boom.
He had headphones that were mine, and I just grabbed the headphones, but not physically. If you would like to ask me, you can ask him, but
Well,
I don't
my
want
partner's in
anything.
here, and I just want to get your side.
Okay,
So that's why I'm
absolutely. You can
asking
ask him whatever you need to ask him. But yeah, you're a coward.
Is it Sha'Carri?
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri.
Thank you so much, Sha'Carri.
Hey.
Somebody in the chat said she will never let anyone mispronounce her name. Not even here. Not even right here, bro. She reminds me of a pageant kid who puts on a smile because she's trained to. Look at her.
But yeah, you're a coward.
Is it Sha'Carri?
Sha'Carri.
Sha'Carri.
Look, she's like a little pageant kid, bro.
Thank you so much, Sha'Carri.
Hey, Sha'Carri. What's your
Yes.
phone number for you?
And like I said, I don't have a problem cooperating because, like I said, it was some relationship stuff. So that's why I came up
Do you
and
do you
everything.
have your boarding pass by chance? Just so I can just take a photo of that. Just to
Absolutely,
document.
yes. And you can contact me whenever you need to. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. If you don't mind me, I'm just
No, you're good.
Not my boarding pass. That is Publix. Right here.
Perfect.
This is my boarding pass.
So this is the one that got delayed?
So this is, I want to say my original one, and this one.
That's your new one?
No, this is my original one, and this is the one that got delayed. And then the new one, I think, is in my personal one. But you can take a picture, and I'll
Okay.
look for you for the new one if you don't mind me.
Yeah, I
looking.
appreciate it. I
Okay.
appreciate it, yeah.
Absolutely. No problem, no problem, no problem. Hey, Susie, are you on the phone with me? Awesome. Yeah, the officers, they're just listening, taking my side of the story. You're on the phone, everything is going smooth as possible. I'm looking at my boarding pass right now. I don't think I have it, but they moved my flight to 10 p.m. if you don't mind. I don't think I just physically have it. But you can take a picture. I don't mind at all.
So last, are you going heading back to Florida?
Yes. No. I'm heading to Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Chad says, why do you take a picture of the boarding pass? I think it's just to prove that they did their due diligence, that she was at the airport for a reason. She had a boarding pass. Like, I think it's just, I assume it's just protocol, right? I try, and who knows why they do anything.
I can probably find it this way.
Yeah, you can find it
It's
that way.
just to kind of document what's
No,
going on.
please. Please document everything. I have no problem with you documenting anything. And I'm going to do my part so you can do your best. Document everything. I would never. I would never say it. If I ever talk to him again, please stop it.
I could be wrong. I might be mistaken, but from my understanding, Christian's not the one who called the cops. I think it was airport security. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is that like, I think somebody else called the police because I think she right away thought it was him, but I don't think it was him. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a passerby. Or yeah, TSA. Yeah, I think TSA called.
If I ever talk to him again, you punch me in my face. I will never, ever talk to him again. I will never do it to him again. So hi, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right.
I'm good.
No, okay.
But I have to put it, I'm so sorry you're grabbing me right now.
Yeah, because you're under arrest.
I'm under arrest right now? Christian, are you serious right now?
You're
Okay.
under arrest for assault for DV.
I didn't assault him though.
We have you on video.
I literally we were having an argument. I'm not resisting, so you don't have to go harder. Christian, are you serious right now?
So, man, in Washington State, he doesn't get a say.
But I understand, we were arguing. But I understand entirely.
Within 4 hours,
we were
an
arguing.
arrest will be made.
Okay, I'm not gonna resist. But I'm telling you that we were arguing. I didn't assault him. I didn't do anything wrong. But the fact that you guys are doing this to me and he's abandoning this.
Pause. I'm going to go back and rewind it a second. There is a chance that some people might agree that this is an assault because of the bubble they're in. To me, it's assault. But for some people, this is why I say, and I got a podcast coming up about this, okay? I do not fight with my partner. People have normalized fighting in relationships so much that they think physically fighting your partner isn't fighting. It's an argument, or that it's not domestic violence. It's just a fight. So I need you to know that this is a universal experience. So many people have this. So many couples think physically, this is a global phenomenon. This is not specific to skin color or anything else. It is a universal relationship amongst heterosexual couples in which physical violence with your partner might be so normalized as not domestic violence because it's just, quote, an argument. Okay? So this is what I'm trying to get people to stop doing. Stop thinking yelling at your partner, cussing at your partner, giving the cold shoulder to your partner isn't abusive. Coming home to your partner and your partner not talking to you because they're in a bad mood is fucked up. So again, if we're in healthy relationships, none of this shit should be happening. But because we're all in such fucked up relationships, we've normalized it. And then this is the result. We weren't fighting. It wasn't domestic violence. We were in an argument. So we need to actually have a conversation about like having a disagreement, having a conversation that's getting heated does not need to escalate. But this is, I think people could truly believe this isn't domestic violence. You know, to be fair, I think you can have two buddies fighting the same way she was with him, and maybe they'd be fighting mutually, and it wouldn't be, wait, why is Discord saying heterosexual couples? Wait, are they heterosexual? Wait, what did I say? Did I say something wrong? Did I say homosexual couples? Did I say the wrong thing? Tell me, Discord. But the point is like, I think you can have two friends who are fighting it out and not need the cops to be called, but they could because it's still considered like possibly assault. But the thing is, and the difference is that he was walking away. The difference is that he was literally not engaging and she pushed him further. Right? Okay? So, yeah. Chad says, I heard hetero. I don't know what I said then. Hold on.
But I understand entirely.
Within 4 hours,
we were
an
arguing.
arrest will be made.
Okay, I'm not gonna resist. But I'm telling you that we were arguing. I didn't assault him. I didn't do anything wrong. But the fact that you guys are doing this to me and he's the man in the situation, I'm gonna comply. I am. I'm not gonna argue with you at all.
She said because he's the man in this situation, but I'm not sure what that's referencing. Is she saying he hit her first? Is she saying it's retaliation? I don't know. Discord said, you said heterosexual couples, I think, and we know it's any couples. Well, is it though? It is, but it isn't necessarily. Domestic violence among heterosexual couples is the highest. And it's more normalized in their bubbles than I think more LGBT couples. I think gay couples are more progressive, so they tend to have less domestic violence, but that doesn't mean it doesn't occur in those types of relationships. And a lot of those statistics around lesbian relationships being domestic violence-y is actually women who are in heterosexual relationships with men, not actually with their female partners. So yes, domestic violence does occur in all kinds of relationships, but it is higher amongst heterosexuals in dynamics in which men and women are still playing to the binary. Because a lot of the relationships that occur in these ways allow leeway for women being physical with their partners and not counting. How many relationships do you know where women feel empowered to hit the male partner because they know they're weaker than the male partner and the male partner is not supposed to hit women? And how many men do you know where they're allowed to hit the women in their relationship because they're the dominant and the leader? So I would say that the toxicity can exist higher and more likely in heterosexual couples than gay couples, just because lesbian and gay couples tend to be a little bit more liberal and progressive. And so the physical violence isn't as prevalent. It's not to say that it doesn't exist, but I'm trying to point out a specific categorization in a bubble and a specific thing that happens and occurs in these dynamics.
But you have me on camera, but at the same time, what he has on camera, I have my phone, show something different. So if I need to show that, I will.
We have your cameras all around here.
Okay, but I have my phone that shows something different.
I'm just letting you know what's going on.
Christian, thank you, Christian.
Don't talk to him right now.
Okay, I won't. Thank you so much. Oh, y'all gonna arrest him? I'm gonna arrest him. Okay, I'm not gonna press charges on him. So this right here, I feel like it's completely unacceptable. We had an argument as in a relationship. And y'all didn't think he put hands on me, but y'all thought me put hands on him. So okay.
Wait, what did she say here? Hold on.
I'm not gonna press charges on him. So this right here, I feel like it's completely unacceptable. We had an argument as in a relationship. And y'all didn't think he put hands on me, But y'all thought he wasn't on him. Oh, okay.
She's saying we're having an argument in our relationship. So she's trying to say like, this isn't any of your business. This is our relationship. But she's also trying to say that like, you didn't see him put his hands on me. And I'm not sure if that happened. I'm not sure if in a different space, he put his hands on her first and we didn't get to see it. We don't know that, right?
So I'm going to jail? Who's going to get me out? Are you serious right now? Please, can I please make a call to my family right now? Are you serious? Can I make a KP or a protest for me? Are you serious? Christian! Oh my gosh, right now.
She's pretty upset. She said she wouldn't engage with him. They said don't talk to him right now, but she's engaging. They also said that he doesn't have a choice in her getting in trouble because of the state of Washington and the way that it runs. It doesn't matter if the victim presses charges. She's getting arrested because like they saw it, they did it in public, okay?
Oh my god! Oh my gosh, okay. Who will I be able to call right now? Any numbers that I know? Okay, thank you so much. So when y'all let me go, can I call and start fighting on this? If possible?
I'm not going to play it. I've been in this airport so many times in my life. It's bringing back flashbacks. Do love that airport.
But because I have me on camera, y'all arrested me, correct? And y'all didn't even listen to my side of the story. Y'all just arrested me, correct?
So she's upset they're not listening to her side of the story because they're saying this isn't the full story. Can I just say, like, I think this is the dilemma I'm going to have is there's always more to every story. Like, I need everyone to understand this. A serial killer, there's more to their story. An abuse victim, there's more to the story. A rapist, there's more to their story. I think that's the thing we have to understand. You know, there's always more to the story. Because we didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. That's what I'm trying to say. This didn't start with Sha'Carri. It started with her ancestors 500 years ago. It didn't start today with us. It started with all of our ancestors 1,000 years ago. It started with civilization millions of years ago before we even existed. Like, that's what I'm saying. None of this just happened. All of this is a result of something else that led to these situations. And I'm saying if we want preventative care, then we can't look at this situation zoomed in. We have to zoom out. We have to zoom out. And we have to really process that most abuse situations are preventable. But they're also taught to us through culture. And everybody suffers from this. All of us, globally. This isn't specific to any specific group of people, right? So we need to really pay attention to that.
So I don't want to hear that part of the story. Because I have proof that, and if everything, okay, I'm not even I'm not resisting. I just feel like this is crazy. And y'all didn't even listen to the woman's side of the story, but y'all accepted that there was on video. No, I haven't had any rights read to me at all.
Hold on. Discord saying absolutely the numbers are higher all around for straight couples. It is prevalent in same-sex couples too, unfortunately. I mean, the toxic misogyny we talk about and unhealed men and women seemingly hit the same sex easily. But I need you all to focus because do not let the conversation be, what about gay couples? Be very fucking careful that we do not turn this conversation into, but what about gay couples? What the fuck about them? What the fuck about them? Because that is what conservatives will do. That's what people will do. Yeah, but what about gay couples? What about them? So make sure that you know that that's what I'm trying not to do. I'm not trying to make excuses for gay people, but I'm not trying to drag our community into this conversation that has nothing to do with us. This has nothing to do with me. I didn't do nothing. This has to do with heterosexual dynamics displayed in public and a sense of entitlement from abusers all around. Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that nobody tries to make this story. Yeah, but what about gay couples though? Okay, that's all I meant by it. Okay, I'm not meaning to discount the abuse that happens in those. But we're not talking about that right now. That's all I'm trying to say.
Do I have to stay in jail for the night? Are you telling me that? I have to go to jail for the night? Do I have money if I can bail out tonight? Can I bail out tonight?
No, it's TV.
I have to stay in jail for the night? Are you kidding me right now? I have to go to jail tonight? I'm not arguing. I'm just asking
All right,
questions.
you have the right to remain
Can I
silent.
get out tomorrow?
Stop doing that in the name of Florida.
Look, this must be real. I think it's probably scary for anybody, even abusers, to have to go to prison, right? It must be scary to get like taken away by other people and you can't do anything and all of these things compound, right? Chet says, I feel like many people are ignorant of how the legal system works. And when they are caught in it, they have no idea what bubble they're dealing with and try to get out of it like they would at home. Exactly. Yeah, I really think like our brain just malfunctions, right? Like our brain like malfunctions and we don't know what to do, which is why we have to be incredibly kind and why policing has to be aware of that. Like policing should get mental health training because you are mentally putting people in a very difficult situation. Like you are scaring people, and when people are scared, and we are evolved animals, when we're scared, we're gonna bite, kick, run, and you're acting like there's no reason for them to do those things. That's why I think resisting arrest shouldn't be illegal. I don't think it should be a crime to resist arrest because it feels like it's so obvious we would resist arrest. It feels so natural to us that we would resist arrest. Okay, listen, I'll tell you a story. One time, my uncles. This is such a stupid story. My family is not the kind of family that calls the cops. That's not like pretty normal for us, right? But one time, two of my uncles were at my parents' house. We're all hanging out for a get together. Okay, lots of people at the get together, right? I don't know, 40 plus people. We're hanging out, we're chilling, and my two uncles start getting into it, and they're such babies about it. Okay, what fucking little babies? Okay, they start arguing, and we're looking at them like, why are you being so emotional? And they are the two most emotional of the family. Okay, they are the emotionally irregular, in my opinion. And at the state they were in, it was what it was. They're probably better now, okay? They're fighting, and they gets physical. And forgive me, they're bigger, they're fat, okay? And they started rolling around like roly-polies together, fighting, okay? Rolling, two fat guys fighting might be the funniest thing I've ever seen because they were fighting and rolling around the floor like children. And their old-ass parents are yelling at them, and all of us are yelling, and they're like, what are you doing? Stop. Stop being babies. Your children are watching you. Stop. And it's like two fucking brothers fighting. And their mother, my grandma, who's so old, is sitting there like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you're so stupid. What are you doing? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, somebody stop this. What are they doing? And it's so stupid. It was over something so dumb. I don't remember what it was. It was something petty, like I think he insulted his parenting or something stupid. It was something so dumb. And we're sitting here like, what are you doing? So they break up and the older brothers get involved and the two older brothers show up. They're like, hey, stop it. And the two older brothers pull them apart and everybody calms down. And the youngest uncle, the little brother, the runt of the litter, calls the cops. And I looked at him, we all looked at him and said, you called the police? And he's like, yeah, you can't hit me. And I was like, you baby, you called the police? And the police came over and they're like, hey, what happened? And we explained it to the police or whatever. And even the kids were like, bro, you called the police? He was such a baby. Like, okay. And so nothing happened, by the way. Nothing came about. The police like saw that it was like not that big of a deal. And it wasn't that big of a deal. There are situations in your life where grown-ups are so fucking stupid. One, they got into the fight the first place. And then two, you called the police and wasted resources because your feelings got hurt because you picked a fight with your older brother. You couldn't fucking win. Are you serious? It was so stupid. And I'm saying there is a point where you're just being dumb. And there was no reason to call the cops or getting involved. But that stayed in my head all these years because I kept thinking, man, adults are useless, bro. You are such big babies. It really never ends. You go from fighting your little brothers in your bedroom to fucking fighting on the floor when you have kids. You're so stupid. And that's the point. It's like there is a difference between you are so dumb right now and somebody shoving their partner into a fucking pillar in public. That's crazy. Shoving somebody, okay? And look, it is different. Let me tell you the difference because I don't think people get it. I could see a situation where two friends start fighting in an airport and they decide not to press charges and it is what it is because they're just being stupid. But your romantic, intimate partner is different. Putting hands on your romantic partner is different because when we put our hands on our friends, there are peers in a different context. Okay, if my siblings and I started fighting and we were getting mad, it would be different. Look at this, be different than if my partner, who I'm trusting the way I trust myself, guys, the vibe is different. I'm not saying siblings can't abuse you. I'm saying the vibe is different in the same way it's different when your parents, okay, sock their kids in the face, right? Versus two grown-ups fighting. And that's why we have to treat intimate partnership differently because it is different. Because the person who's supposed to keep you safe the most, that person. Now, again, it's very, very nuanced, but it is also, it's hard because people see it all as the same. Like fighting is bad, hitting is bad. Yeah, hitting is bad. And yet, two guys fighting it out in a bar might end in drinks and laughter, but a romantic couple fighting at a bar where somebody's hitting each other, I'm not laughing. And it's not because of gender at this point. It's because that's your intimate partner. Why are you physically fighting your intimate partner? You know what I'm saying? So we have to think about the differences that way because it is different. It is different, okay? And they need to be received differently They do need to be received differently. And if you can't figure out that nuance, you're never going to figure it out. We're never going to break a generational curse. And by the way, that's why people are afraid of being held accountable, PS. Because they're afraid you're going to call CPS for them hitting their kid on the hand the same way you're going to call CPS on a parent that starved their kid for 2 months. And I'm saying they're different. Okay? Or a more analogous situation is they're afraid you're going to call the cops for them hitting their kid on the hand for the same way you're going to call the cops for them hitting you with a tent rod. Okay? Like, in making you bleed and needing stitches after. It's like these things are different. These things are different. We need to be able to look at our elders and people in our families and say, it ends with us. Police isn't the answer. Prisons are not the answer. They are not the solutions to our generational problems. Prisons are not going to help us. Sometimes people have to go to prison, but prisons will not be the saving grace. They will not save us from our trauma. And so all of us going like, that's abuse, arrest them. That's not the answer. Sometimes it's the answer. But if you think prisons are going to help mitigate abuse, please.
Okay. I'm just asking, yes. Can I get this? I'm in a domestic violent relationship.
So she's now claiming she's in a domestic violent relationship. She's claiming she's the abuse victim, and it was basically insinuating retaliation. Okay, let's hear her out, because that statistically is more likely. And yet, we don't have evidence of it yet. We only have evidence of her hitting her partner. But, and this is the problem, if you're in a domestic abuse relationship, I hate to say it this way, but so let's say that's true. Let's say she's in a domestic abuse relationship and she's actually the one being beaten. Then why would you in a public space beat your partner, abuse them with cameras around, make every decision unnecessary? Did he beat you at that airport? Was it self-defense? Were you in retaliation mode? Because it doesn't sound like it. Reactive abuse usually indicates like in the moment. Because it wouldn't make sense to be like, I'm the victim in this abuse relationship, but I'm going to, in a context devoid of abuse my partner. Do you know what I'm saying? Why did she physically go for violence and domination in a situation that didn't call for it? Because in that moment, it didn't look like self-defense. That's all, that's the problem. And then that's where a psychologist could come in and a therapist could come in and explain why a human might do that. Because I don't know. Because in my head, when I think of like retaliation in a way to protect yourself, like a person's abusing you, so you might hit them back. That feels like, yeah, in the moment that makes sense. But where does that make sense in this context? I'm not sure. I don't know from a professional standpoint the point, right? I don't know.
Relationship and y'all pressured me. I can show you proof of me being in a domestic violent relationship, and he won't even come out here enough to help me. Do you have anything underneath this? No, I just have only a bra. I just have a bra.
You have a
Thank you.
property form?
Okay.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay. Who would I have to call to get out of jail? I just have a bra. It's not me that. Like, I don't have a bra. Who would I have to call to get out of jail?
What? Self-work duty.
So I have to stay with her?
Checkpoint.
Can I call anybody? Yes, once you get
On again,
So
off
would I be
again,
able to
boyfriend.
I'm not lying.
Interviewed him and
Can you go ahead and say, hey, this is the number I need?
you want to take your cash with you?
Okay, thank you.
You want to take your cash with you to jail?
Yes, can I bail myself out?
You got to see a judge first.
I have to see a judge. Like, I can't even bail myself out. Can he say that I wasn't being domestic? Like, we had an argument as a relationship. Okay, I'm not resisting. I promise you. I don't have anything in my pocket. I'm just asking. If he says that I wasn't being domestic, y'all still are going to arrest me no matter what, correct?
Yes.
Y'all still going to arrest me, so I have to stay in jail overnight tonight because of him? And he's not going to come and bail me out?
Want to put your ID back in here?
She said because of him, but it's not because of him. It's because you were caught beating him in public. Like, do you know what I mean? That's why I'm trying to get, like, what is she not getting? What am I not seeing? Did I not see something? Because look, we know for a fact we saw this out of context. Yes? I did not see the full context of her starting to assault him. I do not know what came before. I do not know what happened 30 seconds before. I only know what I saw. So what am I missing? And I'm going to leave that open because God knows I could be wrong. God knows we could all be wrong. I don't want to fall for it again. I don't want to fall for the edited context and us making a mistake of coming after Sha'Carri when we don't know. I'm going purely off what I saw. And I'm saying we're not going to pull an Amber Heard again. We're not going to make the mistake of assuming Johnny's innocent because of the way that it was looking. Okay? Because that's what happened and I'm not going to fall for it again this time. So I want to know what happened before and was he abusing her and what led to this? Or I want to know, was she abusing him and it led to this? Okay? So we are not going to fall for it again, girls. We are going to see the evidence and figure it out. but I want to know what it is. And yes, Chad says it sounds like she sees nothing wrong with assaulting him. My fear is she has normalized domestic abuse in relationships, which most people have, that they don't see it as domestic abuse. Look at Andrew Tate talking about hitting women and putting them, you know, as a way to silence them, and then being like, I don't domestically abuse women, right? So I'm worried, right, that you might not even know it. You might not even process it that way, right? And Discord said she claimed he lied. Well, and then she lied to the cops, which is the problem. She said, I never put my hands on him, which she might actually believe it doesn't count. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. So again, as a community, we don't want to fall for whatever it is, but we want to understand that like, this didn't just come out of anywhere. Something happened. I want to know what it is.
Okay, I just have a question. Can I get bailed out tonight?
Not tonight.
So I have to stay in jail tonight? Are you serious right now?
Yeah, I gotta see a judge in the morning.
Please, like he can tell you that we were arguing. I'm not resisting. Please do whatever you gotta do. I'm not resisting. But can he tell you that we were arguing? Like, can he come here and tell you that we were arguing? Like, does that help me at all? Are you
Copy, that's
serious?
our in custody.
Please, I have a question. Does that help at all that he come out and say we were arguing?
Yeah, Chad said never talk to the police, ask for a lawyer. Actually, somebody said that. They said, girl, this is a 30-minute video of you talking to the police. Stop talking to the police. And that's the problem too, is like, but that tells me she's kind of afraid, or that tells me she's being like a person, like she's worried, like she's talking to them like people, which is kind of a mistake. But that means to me that she's activated, right? So she's not thinking strategically, which tells me she's being kind of authentic in a sense, right?
Okay, I'm not resisting, please. Whatever y'all do. But can he come and say that we were arguing, like we're in a relationship? We had a argument. Carrie. But can he come and say that we were arguing? Like that's what I'm asking. Like we're not in a relationship. Like I know y'all understand that. But I have to go to jail tonight. Like even if I bail out and he says that he's not even out here.
We don't have any discretion about that. The judge says we have to go to jail and we have to see a
Are you
judge.
serious? Like I have work, like everything. We're in a relationship. We had an argument, and that's how y'all gonna treat me. He's not even out here. Can y'all talk to him? But I'm going to jail.
Chad says this has been cut, right? Yeah, this is an edited video. They edited out her saying her phone number and all the other stuff, which is why I chose this video, because I knew they wouldn't dox anything. But I think this video is edited. So, you know, they didn't read her rights, but I'm assuming they did. We saw her when she was already talking to the police, so we didn't see them approaching her. So, yeah, this is an edited video.
Serious. I'm not pushing. I'm not resisting. I don't have anything on.
Yeah, Chet says this is what it seems like this is what she thinks that people do when they argue. Exactly. I think a lot of people think this. I think this is a very big generalization I can make, that I think a lot of people, remember when I was in my toxic relationship in my 20s, we never got physical, but we were yelling and I stopped him and I was like, it's 3 a.m. in the morning and we're the neighbors who are yelling. And he goes, yeah, that's normal. And I was like, no, my parents never did this growing up. It might be normal, but I don't want to be normal if this is normal. And that's where it starts. It starts with somebody telling you like, yeah, this is what everyone does. So when people say like every couple fights, no. If this is fighting, I don't want to be every couple. And this is maybe a part of the work that I do, is I'm trying to tell you guys, you don't want to be normal. Normal is fucked up. Normal is depressed. Normal is like, you know, not that there's anything wrong with being depressed. Shout out to my depressed girls, okay? Or normal is domestic violence, or normal is cheating, or normal is fighting, or normal is like, you know, loneliness epidemic. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be normal if this is normal. Okay, I want to get out. I want to be free of normal. Because like, yeah, I do think people think it's normal. I think Sha'Carri might think it's normal to be like, we're in an argument. This is what people do when they argue. Exactly. We have to change this normal.
I know, I just have to check.
I don't have anything on. You can say everything. I'm not resisting at all.
He can't come out here.
He can't come out here? Are you serious?
You guys have a chance to talk?
Are you serious, ma'am?
I am.
We had an argument. I'm not resisting. Can y'all just talk to me as a person?
I am talking to you
I would
as a person.
legit leave him alone. Like, I won't go nowhere near him, please.
We don't have that discretion on this
I'm
call.
asking you. I haven't done anything but argue with my boyfriend.
We have you
I
on
had a
camera.
boyfriend. We had an argument.
I understand that.
Car?
However,
I don't have a car. I had a layover.
car could have-
Are you serious right now? Are you dead ass right now? And I have to stay in jail overnight for this?
overnight. You have to see a
I
judge.
couldn't even bail out tonight.
Correct.
Can I at least pay for bail? I cannot bail out? Can I at least take the clothes off in the back seat, please? I'm not gonna resist y'all.
Is your name Mr. Richardson?
My name is Shakari Richardson.
Do you have any weapons on you?
No, I don't have anything. You can take my hat off. I don't have anything on me.
So I'm just gonna be your transport vehicle.
Can you please take these off?
Unfortunately not, ma'am.
I'm
At this
not
point,
a
you're under
criminal.
arrest. I know you're not, but
I'm not
unfortunately
a
now
criminal. I had an
violating the
argument
law.
with my boyfriend.
Can you take a seat in the car, please?
You know what? I'm not resisting y'all. I was in the car. This is crazy. Y'all not even listening to me. I do. You want me to take it off? It's not a weapon. Like, I'm not resisting.
Take a seat,
I had to
please.
argue with my boyfriend. Can y'all please just listen to me as a person?
I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of feel bad for her. I think she might be genuinely confused. I think Chat's right. Like, I think, but the problem is I can't get the image of her shoving her boyfriend into that pillar out of my head. But that's why I say focus. This is why I say, listen to me when I say this. I believe abusers can be good people who were trained badly. I know this from my own family. I see it in my own family. You are abusive and you were trained that way, and I would love to untrain it out of you. And this is the nuance that I know is so hard to have right now when abusers are using every excuse to continue being abusive. So if you abuse people, you must be held accountable. But I want you to seek redemption, right? I want you to hold yourself accountable by understanding why this was bad in the first place. Okay? So I believe most abuse is preventable. I think most people raise abusive people because they are abused themselves and had toxic relationships with their life and did not know how to function in the world. Okay? So I genuinely feel like she is a product of her upbringing in the same way we all are. And this is why I say like I can see why that man abused that woman, not because she did anything, but because he was raised that way. And this is why I say we need to raise our sons better. We need to raise our daughters better. We need to raise our kids better. But then we have to realize like we're kids who were not raised better. We are kids who were not raised better. The best way for me to humanize the world is to remember that they also were not kids who were raised better. Now, there are exceptions to these rules that no matter how many resources, how much love, how much rehabilitation, how much accountability is given, these people will commit crimes. And those people need to be in facilities, not through the prison system, but through some sort of facility that keeps them just away from the general public, but then doesn't give us an excuse to abuse them. Because remember, you can't sit here and advocate for the abuse of bad people and not consider yourself one. Advocating for any form of abuse to be justified because they hurt people is never the answer. Okay? That's it. That's the difference. She did a bad thing. She needs to be held accountable. Okay, we need to talk about why. I'm not going to be upset if she gets kicked off her team, if she can't be an Olympian, all that stuff. It is what it is. Because, and this is why I say, even if you're a victim, you cannot turn to being abusive. Okay? Because now you're just abusive and a victim. Great. That's most abusers are people that I feel like engage. And I'm not saying if you are an abuse victim, you will be abusive. Because sometimes people don't understand the nuance of the language here. Because sometimes people use it to people will use it to say, oh, if you've been sexually abused as a kid, you can't be trusted around children. That's not true. Just because you were sexually abused as a kid does not mean you will abuse children. That's not true. Okay? But when you're raised in an environment in which you normalize certain behavior, you might make excuses for future relationships to abuse you because you were abused as a kid. You feel like you deserve it as an adult. But that does not mean you will, because you don't grow up to mimic the same abuse you were given necessarily, but you might be more prone to allowing abuse into your life because you think it's normal. Okay? So this is very difficult for people to understand. Like genuinely, people don't get it. But the dilemma is like, we have to get it. Because right now, if you want to protect kids, you got to get it. Okay? You got to get it. And that's the problem. Okay? So again, I think this comment's a perfect example, and it's so valid, right? So like you're valid. You said, she hit him and said it didn't happen, then acted like it didn't matter, then repeated that 50 times. I'm withholding judgment, but I've lost my patience. And this is why I say not all of us are meant to be healers in the community. Myself included. I don't have patience for incels, cheaters, I'm very impatient. But this is why I say people in our community have to be able to have the patience to work with people to give them rehabilitation. We act like rehabilitation is easy. This is why people neglect victims. This is why people neglect the world. This is why you become a capitalistic Republican who says fuck everybody else, because they've already lost their patience. right? I'm going to sneeze. Woo! Yes, Chad, that's why we all have different roles in the community. And that is why we all have different roles in the community. So make sure you know your role and play to it, because you're right. We can't have universal patience for everybody. I don't have the most patience for everybody, but the people I do have patience for, I'm happy to show up for. Okay?
It's security.
You have to go ahead and.
Crazy. Are you serious right now? Because I'm arguing with my boyfriend.
All over stuff? Trespass?
Talk to him.
Miss Richardson?
So no,
Please
so one
asking
thing,
you.
just one thing.
I'm arguing with my boyfriend.
One thing, I just want
What do
you
you
to
need me to do?
So they searched you out here, okay? Once we go to the jail facility, they're gonna search you again. If there's anything that they missed, it might be considered a
I don't
felony.
have
under
anything
that. I
that
just
on
want
me
to
but
give
my
that
corset.
opportunity.
I'm letting you know right now. I have shoes on and my corset. I don't have
I
any
don't hear
weapons
you out,
or
okay? I just need you
anything.
to just be calm for me. I know.
I almost want her to say, I'm not sure if I have anything on myself. Can you please check for me? Because she keeps saying there's nothing on me. But if you've ever been in a situation where you're not thinking, I might have something on me I forgot was there. Right? So I would actually say if she could even pretend to, well, if she could even remember to say, like, I have no idea if there's something on me. You can search me now because I'm not sure. And I'm too frazzled. I can't think. I can't tell if I have something on me. Plus she went through an airport, so she probably has nothing on her. Right? But this is she's just like, yeah, police need to learn how to de-escalate, which we know they're not trained for, right? I think the police are doing an okay job, but I wish somebody could be there to like calm her down. But there is nobody there doing that. Like, nobody's actually there to actually calm her down, which is, I get it. I get that the system is broken.
My boyfriend
I
was
wasn't
taking me to
there.
jail.
I'm just gonna try and help
I'm
you.
going to take me to jail because I argue with my boyfriend.
Transport, I got it. Sorry, no, I was over there dealing with the...
And they do deal with people like this all day. Like, if you guys are losing patience in the comments, you cannot expect the cops to be more patient because they're not trained to be. You see how they just slammed the door while she was mid crying? What do you want them to do? They deal with people every day. It's fucking annoying. You would lose your patience too, which is why I say, like, I don't like the police, but you know that you're going to lose patience. They're going to lose patience. So that's why I say we have to be careful. People suck. We suck. We suck. Human beings suck. That's why we cannot give police special treatment. It's why we have to hold the police accountable. Because we suck and we're impatient, we cannot let police just do what they want. Hear me when I say this. The way we let cops do what they want because they deal with bad people all day, no, the opposite. Because we lose patience, because we're impatient, we cannot let cops get away with shit. We cannot give them special power. We cannot give them special leniency.
Other thing. All good. All good. Property.
Sorry.
1 second, I'm gonna hear you out. I promise, okay?
I know you are, but I'm still in the jail. So I had an argument with my boyfriend.
And
nobody's
just
arresting him.
just a reminder, okay? I'm pretty sure they read you your Miranda rights. Okay.
So I'm not arguing. Like, I'm not saying anything opposite. Can I just bail out of jail tonight at least, minimum?
You might be able to. I'm not sure what the charges.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second.
I'm not resisting or anything.
Yes, ma'am.
I won't go anywhere near you. I just want to
Unfortunately, in this state, if it's anything related to domestic violence, which I don't know what the circumstances
I
are,
understand. I know you're just doing your job with
Yeah.
this. So I just want to be bailed out tonight. That's all.
and there's a chance you might be able to. I don't control the bail schedule. Okay. I'll help you out as much as I can with any questions you have. Yes, ma'am.
That's all I ask. I'm not resisting. I haven't resisted
So you want
anybody.
transport?
I just want to get the bail out tonight. That's all. I have the money to, and I can just be, as long as I get my call.
Stand by.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just thank you for listening. I'm not resisting. I don't want to start any commotion. I just want to be able to bail out tonight. That's all.
Hey, just confirming score, right? I missed everything. Okay, just want to double check. Sounds good, sir. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I just want to be able to bail out. I'll just do it. That's all.
I'm gonna help you out. I just have to do this one. No, you're not. Not by any chance.
I
Hey,
just
sir.
want to be able to bail out tonight.
I do. I can hand you one as soon as I swing by. Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
There is no race. I just want to be able to bail out tonight. That's all.
Yeah, Chad says he is actually de-escalating. He's using better language. He's saying, I'll hear you out. I'll listen to you. Like, he's doing a better job of it for sure than anyone else was. I mean, nobody was like super hostile or did anything weird. But at the same time, like, it's scary being arrested. I just refuse to engage in any conversation that doesn't allow this to be scary, even to an abuser. Like, it just feels scary. Like, we live in a world where a human being can just pull you aside. That feels so scary, right? Oh, good point. Chat says this is also one-on-one. That's true. Yeah, this is definitely, and they are one-on-one right now, which is helpful.
Day one transport. One female Delta score. Starting miles is 10688. I understand. No, you're not. I don't think you are by any means. It's a bad situation to be in.
We had an argument in a relationship. I'm just saying out loud. I just laid in the bed last night. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not resisting.
No, I know you're not. You're doing a great job. I appreciate you being cool. This is not a great situation to be in, but I'm gonna try and make it as pleasant as possible. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and I think this is why I say most people aren't meant to be parents. Like most people are not good at it. And this is like what's so scary is like I think in many ways I say we blame the parents because the parents also the system can't exist without our complicity. Like as much as like we criticize the system, I really think the system is a reflection of us. We're just too many people. But that's also how humans have evolved over time. It literally takes one person to control 200 people. It takes one person to get 300 people to show up to protest, right? Like think about that. Think about the fact that one person can bring in a crowd of 50,000 people. One person can command an army. Like one person. Like human beings do not need a lot. And this is why I say we have to first acknowledge we are biological creatures. We have to acknowledge it takes one person to motivate a people. And that's what's so scary, right? Is like, I feel like that's what is so scary about being a person. And so you have to realize that. And that's why you have to heal. So you can be kind to yourself when you're not the greatest person and then show up better and heal. But yeah, most people like can't be good parents because they're too fucked up. They haven't healed enough. You know? Chad says, when have we not lived in a world where someone could just pull you aside? Well, that's the point. We act like we weren't born into a violent and crazy fucking world. We act like we're not just products of people fucking. We act like we're not just products of our parents thinking they're going to be better parents than everyone else when they fucking won't even handle the fact that they're being criticized slightly. Like, we act like we're better than other people. Like, let's be honest. Most people who have babies think they're going to be the best parents ever and everyone else sucks. Probably not, though. And I have those human thoughts all the time. I have human thoughts where I'm like, I would be a great parent. But see how I still am not choosing to be one? Because I know for a fact I am not up to the standard I would like people to be in. Okay? Chat says, realizing we're almost at 301 stream, this one streamer chat. Hey guys, let me tell you, as the one voice who's controlling you, go home and meditate. Go home and meditate, girls. Do therapy, read a bunch of books, exercise, be kind to people. And then realize, like, listen to me when I say that. When I was in my toxic relationship and I had a realization that I was in the category of people that yell with their partner at 3 a.m. so the neighbors could hear us, I was like, oh, I'm fucked up. I was fucked up. Okay. Was I living in a toxic situation? Yes. Was my partner abusive in ways? Absolutely. But when I realized I was the girl screaming at the top of my lungs, I realized, like, oh my God, that's still me though. My partner wasn't the reason I was screaming. I was the reason. My partner created a scenario in which it escalated to screaming 100%, but I also participated in that escalation. You must hold yourself accountable and make sure other people are held accountable. Listen to me when I say that that relationship was toxic enough and that person contributed to most of the toxicity 100%. But the moment separate from them, I realized I was doing the action. I had to stop it. That's it. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. You are not responsible for the abuse other people give to you, but you are responsible in how you handle it. And that's what's so sad about the world. I think about scenarios all the time in which we raise kids in such toxic situations. The only way they feel they can get out is by murdering their parents. And let me tell you when I say this, they cannot walk free. But we should talk about why self-defense looks different in different situations. Not all forms of self-defense, not all forms of violence are self-defense. But this is why we say, and this is why I said it when what was that white girl's name? What was that girl's name? Hold on. What's that white girl's name? Cherry Blossom? No. What's that girl's name? That Munchausen disease and everybody felt bad for her. And I said, Nah. She had to go to prison. Something had to happen there. Okay? What was that girl's name? But either way, everyone was like, Brittany, don't you feel bad? Gypsy Rose. No, I don't feel bad for her. Yes, Gypsy Rose, thank you. No, I don't feel bad for Gypsy Rose. No, I don't feel bad for her. No, I refuse to engage in a reality where there wasn't another option. I refuse. On principle. I refuse. I refuse. Maybe it's the Taurus in me. Man, I would have taken my life before I orchestrated a murder of my mother. Excuse me? No. No. Absolutely not. Oh my God, Discord said her mom named her a slur. I'm gonna fucking die. I'm dead. No, I don't feel bad for her. I don't trust her. The fact that she has a baby, girl, the world's crazy. The world's a crazy place. I'm sorry. Chessa, did you want the neighbors to hear you? No. No, guys, I was not in a domestic violence situation. I was in a toxic relationship. There is a difference. Okay? I was being emotionally abused, mentally abused, but the neighbors could have done shit. I wasn't being hit. Okay? I'll give you an example. You know who was in a domestic situation? My fucking neighbors. One night, okay, I woke up and I was really fucked up, okay? I was undiagnosed. I was dealing with my own shit and I have night terrors. And I always had a weapon by my bed because I was terrified of having someone break into my house. Anyways, so I'm sleeping and I hear a really loud noise, a bad noise. And I go to grab a weapon and my partner's in bed with me. My toxic partner's in bed with me. And they grab my arm and they say, it's not in the house, it's upstairs. And I go, who is it? And they go, it's the neighbor. And the neighbor is beating on his girlfriend or wife or whatever. And she's screaming. And you can hear him punching. This apartment building was you could hear everything going on. Every conversation, even low conversations. And you could hear her getting hit. It was the craziest sound I'd ever heard in my life. And I said, call the cops. So we called the cops. My partner called the cop and he was the witness. He went to court to testify as a witness in this domestic abuse. And it had been true. The guy went to prison. He was beating on his girl. And it was a really bad situation. It was really horrible. The sounds were just awful. I've never been in that situation. I do not want people to I'm not trying to steal. No, this is a really bad situation. That's bad. Okay, my situation was very bad. It does not excuse my situation. But no, I did not want my neighbors to hear my conversations with my partner about why he was playing video games for 12 hours and didn't put the chicken in the oven. Okay? I had more emotional abuse where I would work 16-hour days, come home from my shift, and my partner wouldn't have had dinner ready. The house was a mess. They weren't doing their end of the bargain. They would lie to me or deceive me or cheat on me. And it was all abuse, but it wasn't hit me in the fucking face abuse, which would have warranted a call to the cops. It was, we cannot escape our childhood trauma fast enough to get out of this situation. Okay, so my toxic partner was abusive, but it's a different form of abuse, which warrants a different reaction. Not one that makes excuses, but one that warrants me getting out. Okay, so it is a type of abuse. Okay, he gaslit me. He fucking convinced me things didn't happen that did happen. All the shit. Different reaction needs to be had. Okay, warn people not to date him, get out of the relationship, move out, never talk to him again. Okay, different. Okay. So again, when we have these conversations, I need you to know that abuse is abuse, but the abuse warrants a different reaction. And the question is, what's the reaction that this warrants? And this is why I say I do not advocate for violence against abusers, ever. Because I think it's a slippery slope and humans are too stupid. If humans are so stupid, they judge people on skin color and sexual orientation, do you really want to give them control over people's bodies, even if they're abusers? Please focus, kids. If human beings are so fucking stupid, we have to create laws so men don't fuck dead bodies, animals, and babies. Do you really want to give those same people power over you so they can decide you're an abuser and then abuse you through the system? Let's focus, kids. Let's focus. Yes, as a society, we're going to have to make better decisions, but abusing abusers is not going to help. Okay, advocating and saying, well, he's a rapist, he should die. Not going to help. Not going to help. Okay? There needs to be consequences, but we need to focus. Okay?
Is it hot back there? You want the window down?
Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
Okay. think I can bail out tonight?
Not you, not you, not you, not you, not you.
Do you think I'll be able to bail out tonight, officer?
I need you to move. What's that, ma'am?
Do you think I'll be able to bail out today?
I don't want to give you any wrong information, but I've seen people bail out, right? I just don't want to give you false hope or tell you the wrong thing.
Michael Danielson, David Adam Nora, Ida Edward Lincoln, Sam Ocean Nora, versus Tina, Tom Ida Nora Adam, Middle L Lincoln, date of birth 1962, 0718.
We have all your stuff, man. We'll give you in this little bag. I'll explain everything to you, okay? I just need an exit, so I have to go to the jail. Appreciate
No
it.
matter what he does. Does he get
So
arrested?
everything gets investigated to its fullest, okay?
Okay. If it happened here, do I just have to find where it happened? Because he was something that you see occasionally I have to prove.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll help you out with any questions you have, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know what's wrong.
You got it.
I heard my boyfriend. She was just there alone here, but I understand. Here's a boy or job. I just want to be able to get out tonight. Unless you can help me, officer. If I get better, so I'm going to stay in jail overnight.
Say again, ma'am?
Am I allowed to do bail tonight?
It's interesting. She keeps asking the same question on repeat. Am I going to be able to bail tonight? Am I going to be able to bail out? She's having a mental health. What is this? What causes that? Like a fear response? She's just asking the same. She's not focused. She's not locked in. She's not, grounded. So she's just, chat says she's in her child brain. That might be it. She's just saying like, am I going to be able to bail? She's asked the same question 50 times. So she's obviously not in her right state of mind. Right? So there needs to be compassion there. She's literally like triggered, which is, she's in a bad situation.
There's a possibility I can't be for certain.
I know, you know, it can be my first 2 days. I can bail out today. I just want to get a bail out tonight because obviously I'm not fighting my crime.
Privately owned. I'll do the paperwork. I'm sorry when I come back. That way it doesn't get on you. Yes, sir. I'll take care. If you're still I'll write all the paperwork.
Are you showing anybody
I'll
an
take care of
18
it all.
toll?
You haven't called for a tow yet.
No, sir. Not yet.
I just need the picture.
Okay. And then I kept going on ACC never put me on hold, and then that's when I'm okay. So there's a notification. Yes, sir.
I just want to bail out. That's all I'm doing. I'm not resisting. I understand law. I just want to be able to bail out.
100%.
Chat says I don't feel bad for her. I feel as bad for her. Everything she said makes me think she's abusive. So I'll tell you this. I feel bad for abusers. It's easy for me though. I can feel bad for anyone. Give me the worst person in history and I'll find a way to feel bad for them. But also, I'm pissed. I'm so angry. I am both. I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for every single person born every day. I feel bad that anyone exists. I feel bad that any of us have to pay bills or do taxes. To be honest, I think I do. I feel sad that humanity exists. I feel bad we evolved. Sometimes I think humans would have been better had we never been here. But Hitler? Oh, I feel so bad for Hitler. What are you talking about? He literally wanted to be an artist and was rejected. That man could have been, he had other dreams, bro. They're just people, bro. I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for everybody. Everyone. Okay? What does that matter though? Because you think if I feel bad for people, then they get to get away with doing their crimes. No, I feel bad for you, bro, and you're going to prison. I feel bad for you, bro, and you're going to be held accountable. That's the difference, is I can do both. And I know a lot of you can too. You can feel bad for people and still hold them accountable. That's the problem. You think you're stronger of a person for not feeling bad for bad people, and I think you're weaker. I think you're a weak person if you can't feel bad for everybody. But that's because I'm a philosophy girly. And philosophically speaking, I feel bad for everybody. Everybody. Because goddamn, if I didn't ask to be here. But that's a part of the journey. A part of the journey, the hope I have is to be wise later, is to say that I feel bad for everybody. You know? I feel bad for every single person. Chess says empathy for pedophiles. Do you mean offenders or do you mean people born with pedophilia? Because damn, can you imagine being born with a brain that's attracted to kids? I'd kill myself. Imagine being born with a brain that's attracted to kids. That's crazy. Because you're a biological creature. That's your biology. That's what I'm saying. You better be careful before you have kids, bro. You know what I mean? And by the way, they exist. Andrew Tate's one of them. He fucked a 15, 16-year-old. Let's be real. A lot of adults are attracted to kids. They just think it's okay because they're 16 or 15 or 12. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the world is not that great of a place, but it's a pretty great place. Okay, the world is a shitty place, but living, like, life is pretty good. Like, life is a great thing, right? Like, life is, like, amazing. The people are pretty shitty, though. You know? And that's the problem. And that's why I say we have got to heal. And I know it's a broken clock thing, but we have got to heal. I've met so many interesting people in my life, and every single one of them, I could tell you when it went wrong. I can tell you exactly when it went wrong. And if we can intercept future babies, it can't be done for the people who already fucked. Like, that's going to take a lot of work. But I can sit there and go, that's where it went wrong. That's where it went wrong. Here's where it went wrong. The problem is, like, we're not willing to admit where it went wrong. Because sometimes where it went wrong happened before we were ever born. And this does go back to, and this goes back to this idea of, like, how do we explain where it went wrong and still get people on a path to redemption, but still hold people accountable? You can hold people accountable and feel bad for them. Feeling bad for them doesn't change the fact that they have to be held accountable. Like, we watched the military soldiers from the Iraq War yesterday. I feel bad for those boys. It doesn't change the fact that some of them engage in absolutely, like, horrible actions, right? And they know that. They're guilt-ridden. But I know exactly where it went wrong. And that's the dilemma. People don't know how to do that. They don't know how to, because you know what usually happens? You love somebody enough, you make excuses for their bad behavior. Oh, you're empathizing so much, you make excuses for their bad behavior. That's a you problem. See, now you're the problem. See, now your problem is that your empathy allowed you to make excuse for bad behavior. See, now you're the problem. Now you're fucking up the world. You need to make sure that you hold people accountable while humanizing them. We have to dignify all people. All people.
I'll give you some fresh air, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Please, as much as you can help me.
I'll help you out with as much
I
information.
understand out of your job, but I promise you I just argued with my boyfriend. That's all. That's all. As soon as I get a call, I get home. I just really want to call, I go home. I just pay for bail. That's all.
So the thing is, right? It's about 6 p.m., right? So the courts are not open right now for a judge to hear.
Bail, does that apply for? I've never been arrested before.
Yeah. No. So what
It's my first time. I've never been arrested before.
So what I want to let you know, right, is that because it's after hours, you're not gonna be able to see a judge to have the opportunity to get out right now, right?
I can't pay for bail right
No.
now.
I'm not saying that right now. I'm just letting you know that a judge would not hear this case until tomorrow at the earliest, right?
I'm supposed to be in jail. No matter if he come and say something, no matter if he come and vouch for me, I still have to be in jail until I talk to the judge.
Until you can be released, yes, ma'am, right?
Even a bail, like, so a judge has to give me bail. Like, I promise you, I've never been arrested before. I have the money to pay for everything.
No, I believe you.
I don't want to get on your nerves and eat.
No, you're not,
I've never been arrested before.
By any means, you're
We
not.
had an argument, and I'm in jail, not him, but I'm arrested.
So
I just want to ask, can I bail out tonight? I just want to be able to bail out tonight. I'm an American athlete. That's another thing. Like, I'm an American athlete. I represent the United States of America when I go and compete.
no, I 100%. I recognized you immediately.
Like,
So
I promise you, I'm not buying it. That's why I'm like, y'all know I'm always complaining.
no, you
I
are.
get paid for it. I'm not arguing. I just want to be able to pay my bail and just deal with my kids that I like to, but I don't want to stay in jail, obviously.
No, 100%. It's so. The first time can be scary for people, right? Especially if they never.
I am scared.
So I just right. This isn't like a.
She said, I am scared. He said, yeah, it can be scary, which I'm glad he said, because, like, that's the truth. It can be scary. I mean, I'd be scared. And I know, look, for some people I know, they spent a night in jail and it became like a fun story to tell at get-togethers, right? And for other people, spending a night in jail is very triggering and traumatizing. And we cannot ignore the fact that she's a Black woman in America. And I think I'd be much more scared if I was a woman and if I was Black, obviously, just because of the statistics. But I know for a lot of people, I've only known a few people who've ever spent a night in jail. And at least in their circumstances, you know, it was like a story to tell. But I think that that's the thing, is like, there is another layer to this compounding. And God knows, guys, we could be wrong. She could actually be in a domestic abuse relationship leading up to a situation we saw out of context that within context would make so much more sense. But we don't know, right? Because, you know, we don't know what he told her. Maybe he told her I had sex with a 4-year-old and then she panicked and hit him. I doubt it. But I'm just saying, like, there are circumstances in which her brain might switch and she might act out of that biological experience and start shoving him. I doubt it. But we don't know. And I'm saying I'm waiting for the evidence. But right now it looks pretty bad. But I'm saying you don't know what he told her, you know? And I'm saying it doesn't excuse it. It explains it. It might explain where she's coming from. I don't know, though, because we don't know.
Saying we're going to be like in jail for months.
But there is a difference between saying, like, well, what did he do to make it happen? I don't want to say that. I don't believe in that narrative of, like, what did he do? It doesn't matter what he did. You can't put hands on people. But I can't explain why she maybe put hands on him outside of her character. Maybe she's never put hands on anybody anymore and it was outside of her character, right? Maybe that's what's happened. But I don't want to create a scenario where the language is like, what did he do? It doesn't matter what he did. You can't hit people.
Or weeks. Just because of the hour, yeah. What you can do? Do you have a lawyer already? You do? Or oh, is your phone's here? I think, right? They'll give you here. So just breathe, okay? I know. They'll let you get phone numbers. They'll give you the ability to get phone numbers out of your phone. That way you can call whoever you need to, okay? I do, ma'am. Oh, okay.
All I'm asking, like, please, I will pay extra. I will pay money. I just want to be able to get out tonight and just deal with my case on court. I don't want to be in jail over the night, officer. I want to take accountability for my. I just want to be in jail over the night. I didn't resist. I didn't argue. I just want to be able to just deal with my case. That's still. And if evidence to happen, just have to argue with my boyfriend.
Yeah, she keeps repeating the same things, literally, like the same exact sentences, the same exact words, the same exact. She's just like, yeah, there's nothing much you can do. Like, she's not processing that they have no control over a judge not being able to see her tonight. It happened after 6 p.m. It is what it is. Like, there's nothing they can do about it, you know? So she's struggling to process that information.
I'm sorry. Let me just say a job. I didn't know you're there.
No, you're not. You're not. I appreciate the consideration, but you're not at all. You're very nice.
I just had to my boyfriend. And then he went and he snitched on me. Like, I'm upset. I understand my part. I just know you do your job. I thank you for letting me know extra my phone. So when I get there, I just go what you
Yeah, absolutely. And then over here, I don't know if they explained it to you. So this little piece of paper right here,
Yes, sir.
it's going to go with your property.
Okay.
What it says is, I know you had luggage and other things,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So you'll be able to reclaim all that,
Okay.
right, once you get out.
Okay.
And all you have to do is you go to this address right here,
Yes, sir.
and you can. But before you go to this address, it's right around the corner from where the jail facility is.
Okay.
You call this number right here, and you can make an appointment to get it. And then one of our officers will help you retrieve all your property. Okay? As long as it's not, of course, evidence of whatever happened. Because again, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
But
But do you feel like I'm going to be in jail overnight?
say again, ma'am.
Do you feel like I'm going to be in jail overnight? I just want to be able to face bail today. And
Mhm.
outcomes tomorrow. I just don't want to be in jail overnight.
I understand. And I'll try and get clarification for you as much as I can. Okay? Once we're in there. I unfortunately am just a lowly police officer. I don't control that. Were you in town for visiting or anything like that? Or?
I was lay over here.
Okay.
I was lay when I was supposed to be going to So that's all.
Yeah, for people just coming in to stream. So her and her partner were heading to, I think, Tokyo to represent America, to like, you know, because they're athletes. And so there's like, she's probably like thinking about her life and thinking about the fact that, because Sha'Carri made the rounds as being sort of defiant in the way that she showed up as an Olympian and proved everybody wrong because everybody discounted her. Remember that the racist, misogynistic bullshit came out when Sha'Carri first hit the scene. And people thought this girl isn't going to amount to anything. They didn't like her nails. They didn't like her hair. They didn't like her lashes. They didn't like her attitude. And then she proved time and time again that she is the best. And so you can imagine that there is so much writing on this. There is so much, and people use this as a reasoning. See, she wasn't as good. She isn't just crying for herself. She's crying for her family, her legacy, like everything that she might have thought I'm changing the trajectory for my family history. Like there's so much on this. And again, I'm explaining things. We're not making excuses, right? But we're having conversations about why this might be even more of an intense situation, because she is an American athlete. She is famous. She is a celebrity. And that's got to be going through her mind, you know? And she might lose all of it, right? And look, the question is, maybe people should. Definitely, right? Maybe abusers should lose everything. Because remember, like, this is how men have gone away with being abusive, is like they've been great athletes. So I don't want her being a great Olympian to excuse her behavior. You know how there was a child rapist in the Olympics. He was convicted and everything, but he had served his time. And then he was out here representing. Do you guys remember the white guy? Why is that happening? And that's the question. Now, look, I do think if you've done domestic violence, like, yeah, basically, if you're really sorry about it and you really understand it was done, you should retire and give other people a chance to be representations of their country that don't have this reputation, right? And that's the dilemma I think we're seeing, is that in order for you to really grow and understand you did something wrong, you must also give up the credit of being the hero in the story, because you certainly were the villain. And then if 20 years have gone by and you want to make that the part of your hero story, that you gave other people the spotlight for 20 years and then you wrote a book about it, let's talk about it. But I do think the dilemma is that you build your whole life towards something, and then once you're in the spotlight, it all comes out. And then you have to contend with the reality that, like, bad people can be amazing athletes, or bad people can be president, or bad people can be your priest, or bad people can be your imam. Like, good people aren't the ones who always succeed, but then what does that mean? Right? It just all around, this is like a shit. But okay, but then I want to tell you this, that for everything that all abusers have done wrong, most of those abusers could have avoided those circumstances had they been raised better. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is like, also, this isn't even completely her responsibility or her doing. This came from before she was born. And that's the dilemma we have to see with all of us in life. Like, I don't know. I think this is too hard of a conversation to have for most people. I don't think we're ready as a society to talk about the people who keep bringing babies into the universe. And the fact that maybe it would have been better had none of us been born, to some extent. Not literally, right? Because somebody might say, well, if everyone's traumatized, then most people shouldn't be having babies, and then most people wouldn't have babies. And that would add a different dilemma into the universe, right? Because you guys know, right? Like, if we don't have babies, we have to rework the system in a completely different way now, which we should, because the system runs on the hope that you will have babies. So life will get harder for us if there's less people, as it was in the beginning. That's why we made more people. But we made so many people and we didn't do any of the generational healing. And so now we're all riding the wave of that. So this is bigger than all of us. This is bigger than Sha'Carri. It's bigger than any situation we ever cover on the internet. It's about humanity as a whole.
Business that you need us over here. That's all. I don't know what to tell you.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Can you interrupt me now?
Okay, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Chat said, how do you feel about the ethics of these police body cams in more mundane cases? I feel like they're really unethical to be posted online for entertainment. Okay, in an ideal world, it wouldn't be a big deal if you got arrested. In an ideal world, you wouldn't be automatically a bad person if you were a felon. In an ideal world, being arrested by the police wouldn't make people think badly of you. In an ideal world, it wouldn't matter if we were caught on body cam or we were in the back of a police car. In an ideal world, we wouldn't assume the worst out of everybody, because in an ideal world, a cop could actually have you in the back of a police car for a good reason. Because in an ideal world, like, people sometimes they're like in a bad way sometimes, but like, what does it matter? The fact that we don't let felons vote in America should tell you everything you need to know about the police system. The fact that felons have to pay tax, but they don't get to vote, taxation without representation, should tell you everything about what it means to be a police state. We should be so angry about this. We are not angry enough that felons can't vote. We are not angry enough. And the fact that conservatives make fun of liberals for wanting felons to vote is exactly the irony of them caring about taxation. Remember that they have to pay tax, but they don't get to vote. And remember, police were just former KKK, okay? That's all they are. A lot of police officers come from a long line of KKK members. Another excuse to harass the community because I've got a badge. Trump saying he's going to put it so cops never have, like, you can't retaliate against a cop under any circumstances, right? Like, think about that. Think about it. Like, think about it. None of this just came out of anywhere. This all goes back. Why do you think conservatives hate it when Black communities still talk about slavery? Because they know for a fact they're still being impacted by it, and our whole world is being impacted by it. But they keep denying it over and over again. Conservatives will say, why can't they just go over it? It happened so long ago. You're still crying over tea. The same conservatives that are mad at Native Americans and Black communities are still ones crying about tea. Do you know what I'm saying? Do not let them gaslight you. Do not let them trick you into thinking that they are not bitching and moaning about shit as much as anybody else. Except one has more of a right to bitch than the other. Okay?
Absolutely.
Hey there, can I get that case number, please?
I'll make sure that you can, okay? I'll try my best to help you out with that, okay? Yep.
It copy 381.
And I'm sure the staff over there will help you as well, okay? The staff that's over there will help you also, okay? Yep. Yes, ma'am. Less than 5 minutes. Less than 3 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, she sounds like she's calming down a bit, which is good. I really hate I hate this idea. I get really triggered, like being held down or being trapped. So, like, you know, I would be concerned, you know. She said, I've never been arrested before.
It's a procedure, so what they'll end up happening is they're going to do another full search of you, right? A female officer will do a full search of you. They'll get you out of the clothing that you have, and they'll give you some clothing.
Okay.
And then what they typically do is you fill out some paperwork,
Okay.
just to make sure that all the stuff that you have is yours,
Yes,
it's accounted for. Then they'll do the booking process, right? Which, you know, I'm pretty sure is fingerprinting, maybe taking quick picture,
Okay.
and then I'm pretty sure you'll get an opportunity to make phone calls.
Make a phone call afterwards.
Yeah, you'll probably go on your cell, but I don't know the order. It varies depending on how busy it is.
Am I going to jail?
It's a private jailing facility here, right? It's
Like, am I going, like I said, am I even able to go bail before tomorrow?
I've seen it happen. I don't know necessarily everything about your situation, right? I just know that.
I understand. You don't
Yeah,
know
correct.
I'm just asking because, like I said, I can pay bail.
From my understanding, it's not a felony, right?
Okay.
If it was a felony, we'd be going to a different location,
It'll be a different part,
a different jail, and
Okay, that's interesting. For those asking, like, what did she do? Just like as a refresher, because I think it's important. So she and her boyfriend got into it at the airport in Seattle, and she shoves him right there. You'll see it. They're fighting in public. She keeps saying, I was just having an argument with my partner. I'm just having an argument. But she's like berating him, chasing him, shoulder checking him, shoving him. Look at it. She shoves him again. So TSA called, security called. She was arrested on domestic abuse. He tries to shove her away, tries to walk away multiple times, and she follows him. Okay. So that's why she was arrested. That's why they've arrested her. Okay.
that one is, yeah.
And she also, when asked, like, did you get into a physical altercation? She goes, no, we didn't touch each other. So then there's an added part of that where he's like, there are cameras around. She goes, we didn't touch each other. But like, obviously they touched each other.
I've never been arrested before.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been arrested before.
Yep.
I'm just asking these questions because I just want to be able to make the proper calls, and I do have the rest of the calls.
Oh, yep.
Yes, sir. But I can have my able to press charges against him.
Yeah.
Wait, cops. Wait. Chat says, yeah, she lied. Well, okay. This is the hard part. Did she lie? Did she lie? Like that's where I want to understand psychology better. Did she lie? Because sometimes, okay, I'm autistic. Sometimes I am so truthful as an autistic person that I forget that other people don't count that thing, right? Like, people, I'm so autistic and honest that people are like, that's not what we're talking about when we say, like, did you hit her? Or did you hit him? Or did you do this? Right? Like, I think we're being literal, right? Like, literal, like, hey, did you guys have domestic violence? It's like, no, we just hit each other. Okay, but did you like touch each other? It's like, no, it didn't get physical. Because it's like, what are you asking me? And then that's the problem, right? It's like, what does that mean? So then you're overly honest, and then it gets you in trouble because that's not what people mean. But now it makes you look worse than you did before because that's not what they were asking, right? So in her head, he's asking her if they had a fight, like a domestic abuse fight. And in her head, she's like, no. Because in her head, she might not see it that way. So she doesn't think she's lying, or she is lying by definition of, did you touch him? Yes, that's a lie. You did touch him. But if she thinks you're asking me, did we have a domestic abuse? She would say no. Because in her head, she might not think of it that way. And this is why I say, what do you mean when you say consent? What do you mean when you say racism? What do you mean when you say assault? What do you mean when, because people say it's obvious, it's common sense. Because in some bubbles, when people get on TikTok and say, oh yeah, all couples fight. No. What do you mean by fight? What do you mean by fight? Because when we use words, we are using them differently. So what I'm trying to get to the bottom of is like, when you say it, what are you saying and do you know better? Because some people know better but downplay it because they know they got caught. So then the question is she downplaying it because she knows she got caught? Or is she literally like, this wasn't domestic abuse, right? But it doesn't matter because the law, and that's what he's trying to explain to her, it doesn't matter if you intended for it to be domestic abuse. It was domestic abuse in the state of Washington. We have to arrest you now because somebody saw you shoving your boyfriend in public. That's why the state of Washington says it doesn't matter what the intentions were. Somebody saw you doing it, we have to arrest you. And she's saying, but that wasn't my intention. And that's why I say to your parents, it doesn't matter if it was your intention, the results are what they are. It doesn't matter sometimes, but it does matter when we talk about punishment, because I don't believe in punishment. We have to know your intention to give you the right amount of consequences. We have to. And the question is, when we go to court, can we tell the intention of somebody? We can't read minds. So that's why there are innocent people in prison, right? Remember, there are innocent people in prison right now. There are people who could have just needed the right program and they would have been better, but instead you put them in prison. Like, there are children right now who just need the right intervention in school, but instead you kick them out and make them go to an extension school, right? There are people every day in communities that just needed the right intervention and you gave them the wrong one and set them down the path of being fucked forever, right? So again, you would say to yourself, what makes people feel so entitled doing things in public? And that's because they literally think it's not wrong. So I need you to process that. How do people get up on stream every day and talk about how Black women don't deserve to be loved, so they should be put up with what they get? Every day somebody gets on stream and talks about how gay people are disgusting and I don't want my kid to have gay friends. And we let that person be a part of society like they're perfectly normal. Okay? We let people say fucked up shit every day and be considered perfectly normal. Have you seen a Jubilee video? We let people get on Jubilee every day and say, yeah, I'm a fascist. And then everyone just goes, okay. So then why are we confused when this shit happens? Right? We let people be horrible people every day. A rapist is in the White House, girls. A rapist got elected to the presidency. And we're all wondering why Sha'Carri might end up, being this person. All of our shit is preventable. And by the way, I feel bad for Trump too. You know that boy was abused. You just know his childhood was shitty. And that's what I'm saying. I don't feel bad for him enough not to hold him accountable. That's why I say, a lot of these rapists were raised to be that way. It doesn't mean we're not going to hold them accountable. Okay, I can feel bad for your child self. I don't feel bad. By the way, I don't really feel bad for their adult self. I feel bad for their child self. I feel bad for 11-year-old Sha'Carri. I feel bad for 11-year-old Trump. I feel bad for you as a child who grew up to be this adult. I feel bad for any of my brothers who couldn't have healed their childhood trauma and now they're going to be and continue to be shitty adults. And I'm grateful every day that I took care of that inner Britney. I'm grateful every day that I pulled 11-year-old Britney, or maybe 11-year-old Britney pulled me out of my fucking bad place and said, girl, you better get your shit together. I said, yes, ma'am. I'm not sure who really saved who. I'm not sure. But yeah, this didn't just happen out of nowhere. This was set in motion hundreds of years ago before we even got here.
I mean, depending on where the incident, it depends on where the incident happened. Yeah, no, absolutely. So it depends on where the assault happened, right?
In Florida?
In Florida?
Yes.
Okay. You can make the report anywhere, right, to any police agency, but the agency that investigates it, right, it depends on where it happened, right? Okay. That jurisdiction. So, like, what I'm saying is I don't want you to think, oh, I'm in Washington, I can't tell the police anything about it. You 100% can. They'll just take the report, but then it gets forwarded to Florida, and then they do their own investigation. That's typically how it happens, right?
Yeah, Chad said, so you're saying that she thinks in order for it to be abuse, she has to straight up punch him in the face and not just shove him? Yeah, in the same way that a lot of us think that about a lot of things. It's okay. So rape is a construct, right? We made it up. We've decided that this action is what we're going to call rape. Like assault itself is a construct. Abuse is a construct. It's not objective. It's a set of actions human beings have categorized as this thing, right? And that thing has changed over time. And because we're not all on the same page about what it is, some of us don't think we're doing it, right? So we have to think about it from that perspective of when you're brought up in a home, okay? You're brought up to think this is the bad action and this is the good action. And as long as you don't do the bad action, you're in the good action box. So if you're taught these are the good actions and your good actions are homophobia and racism and bigotry and all that stuff, you won't see yourself as doing the bad stuff. But if you're born in a home where the bad stuff is bigotry and racism and all the things, then you're like, hey, you're doing the bad stuff. And they're like, no, you're doing the bad stuff. And then we're all arguing about who's doing the bad stuff. Now, I think obviously through data, we can see that some things are bad. And we got to figure out how do we stop doing the bad stuff and thinking it's the good stuff. That's what it is. I want to know, how do I get human beings to stop doing the bad stuff that we think is the good stuff? And then which bad stuff are we doing that is like not that big of a deal? Like maybe eating pudding all day instead of getting any real food in my system because I don't want to. It's not the greatest, but everybody relax, okay? But then the problem is we put, It's like the vegan argument. I'm so sorry to bring this up because I know okay, but it's like the vegan argument of people saying like, oh, you don't want to eat animals, but then why are you eating plants? I 100% get it because I used to say the same thing. And then I had the click where I was like, oh, it's not about not eating living things. It's about harm reducing the amount of living things you're eating. It's not about being a perfect person. It's about harm reducing in order to be a better person. And that concept is so hard for people to get, myself included. Myself included. Genuinely, if I didn't talk to Ellie, the vegan girl, if I didn't talk to her, it probably wouldn't have hit me. But she said it in just such a perfect way that it fundamentally changed my brain. Isn't that crazy how talking to one person can fundamentally change your brain? And that's why I say all it takes is one person. All it takes is hearing a YouTube video say the one thing that gives you a bubble pop. Ellie inspired a bubble pop. She said it in just a perfect way for my brain to go, oh, boom. And now I'm like, damn it. Damn it. By the way, I screamed in the store yesterday. So American of me. I'm so embarrassed. It was late at night. We went to the store here in Croatia. And it was me and my partner and like 2 other people in the store. It was very not crowded. And I screamed because I had an intuition. I walked into the supermarket and I said, I'm going to find vegan meat today. I'm manifesting vegan meat. And then I screamed and went, oh, baby, so loud like an American because I was so excited. My partner was horrified. But there was vegan meat in the store. And I just thought, yes, girl. So I got vegan sliced meat at my store. I was so excited. Because usually we have to take a bus and go like way into town to get it. But my store is catching up. Okay, my local store. All of this to say, okay, it's amazing who you could be in a year from now. I saw a TikTok that said, hey, for those of you who've been able to stop shopping at Amazon, how did you do it? Genuinely, it's so much easier when it's about values. I haven't been shopping at Amazon, and yes, it's been inconvenient as fuck. Okay, I'm a girly who spent a lot of money on Amazon. Maybe $45,000 on Amazon probably, right? Definitely, probably, right? 30,000 at least, definitely, right? Gotta be. Over these years, gotta be at least something like that. Something crazy like that, gotta be. Anyways, I don't shop there anymore. And I've managed to learn how to live without it. But it took a while. But that's what I'm trying to say. None of us are perfect. We all just have to work at it. We have to attempt to change. And it's hard, but it was never supposed to be easy, right? Jess says the hardest part is Prime Video. Same. Every time I want to rent a movie or see something, I'm like, damn it, Amazon has it. But I don't do it. There are even shows I've really wanted to watch, you know? But anyways, all of this to say, it's not because I think me eating plant-based or me not shopping at Amazon is going to change the world. It's because like I can't demand that the world change if I'm not going to do it myself. I cannot ask the world to be a better place if I don't work on it myself. Because a lot of people genuinely tell me, why should I be any better than anyone else if everyone else is going to do it and it's not going to matter? Yeah, because I'm not doing it for you. That's the difference. Is I've decided to engage in the subjective view of morality because I'm doing it for my values. I don't care what the world is doing. But most people aren't going to do it if, you know what I mean? Most people aren't going to do it unless everyone else is doing it. And you should pay attention to that and deconstruct it. Why are we like that? Because we're evolved animals over time.
Say again?
I'm just asking you, do you think I can get out tonight?
I don't want to make you false promises.
She's asking again. Do you think I can get out tonight?
I don't want to lie to you, right? I don't want to seem like I'm lying to you. I want to give you the most accurate information. I just don't have it right now regarding it. I just know that a judge won't hear from you tonight.
Oh, and by the way, because Chet says exactly most people are followers. P.S. I'm a great follower. If you put a great leader in front of me, I'm happy to follow. P.S. There's nothing wrong with being a follower, right? I prefer it. I don't want to be a leader. Yesterday or 2 days ago when I said like I ended up being Moana in the story. Moana's not the leader. You know her dad is the leader of the village. P.S. I'm not a leader. I'm leading. I'm the first in a direct. I'm a first, but I'm not the leader. See, there's a difference. There's the difference between the first person in your family to do something and being a leader. I don't want to be a leader. Like her dad's the leader of the village. I am though going to be the first to do things. The first person in my family to do this, the first person in my family to do this. But like, you know what I'm saying? Being a follower is not the problem. Picking who you follow is. Yes, chat, trailblazers versus leaders. Exactly. Exactly. Which, you know, maybe you're a leader in some way because you led the path for others, but you know what I mean.
One female adult for domestic. Thank you.
We don't have to be, do they have to be a judge to give me bail, or judge for me to get bail?
I'm sorry, say again? I missed that.
Does the judge have to be, is the judge the one that approved me to get bail? Or can I just
Typically, right, they release you on your own cognizance, right, with a citation or, you know.
Is that a possibility? If I'm just communicating, I don't go anywhere, I show up somewhere, I don't deal with it. I've never been arrested before.
I can't hear it.
No, I mean, so every case is different, right? There's not a blanket like this shall be done every time. The judge or prosecutor or lawyer, they look at all the facts.
Wait, she's not the chief in the sequel. Is she? She can't be the chief. I just saw the sequel. She doesn't seem like the chief in the sequel. Her dad does. Because if she's the chief, why is she abandoning everybody to go look for things? I guess, is that what the chief does? Okay, well, I took a different message from that sequel. I didn't see her as the chief, whatever that is. I saw her as the person who goes out and looks for things. But either way, it doesn't matter. That's what I got from the movie.
And then they determine, you know, things like if you're a danger to society or if you're, a weapon was used, things like that.
I mean, she's one of the leaders technically, like the elders, right? It doesn't matter.
Everything, it varies. Yeah.
So I just go over your details.
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. Thank you, officer.
Yep.
Yeah, already. Can't move on.
Say again?
I said thank you for all that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't
Okay, she's thanking him. She's saying thank you for everything you did. So she's cognizant enough to at least like end on a good note. Like she obviously did very well. I don't think she's being manipulative, but I think she was being triggered. And I do think she, regardless of why it happened, she hit her boyfriend. She assaulted him. Okay, so period. Why did it happen? What led up to it? Doesn't excuse the behavior, but I would like to know why. And then I would like to still hold her accountable for the assault. She publicly assaulted him in front of strangers at an airport. So regardless of anything else, she either was out of her fucking mind or entitled or just an abuser who thought she can get away with it or a superstar who thought she can get away with it, right?
want to make this any more than it has to be for you. So the thing is, right, they only open it up for one person at a time in here. So right now there's another officer that's in there booking somebody. So as soon as they're done, I'll walk you in there with all your property and we'll get it done, okay? All right. They'll allow you to get phone numbers, and then you'll probably be in touch with, if you have a lawyer, right, they might help you with the process afterwards as well. So they'll give you the best information, okay? Yeah, again, I'm assuming so. I haven't heard of any situation where they don't allow you to make calls. But again, it depends, right? But I'll get all that info for you when I can over here.
True. Chat says leaders there are different types of leaders. By example, leaders by mentorship, leaders enforcing structure. 100%. I just don't want to be the Gryffindor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys feel it, right? I'm not a Gryffindor. I'm a Slytherin at heart. Like, I don't want to be the Gryffindor. Like, that's my farm brother. My farm brother's the Gryffindor. Go ahead, bitch. You take control. You lead. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that girly. I don't want to be that girly. But people think they want it. They don't want it. You have to be made for it, girl. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He can't come to voucher me.
Chat says, or was it a safe place to show the reactive abuse in public where he wouldn't hit her? Well, that's so stupid, though. Why would you, as a victim, choose a situation in which you would hit your partner in public so other people would see? How does that help you? Reactive abuse isn't like that, right? Isn't reactive abuse, am I wrong, that it usually is triggered in a moment? Like, why would you're making it sound like she's strategically planning. How is that a safe space? How is it a safe space to look like the abuser in public? Right? That wouldn't make any sense. Am I missing something? Like that wouldn't make any sense for an abuse victim to sit there and be like, oh yeah, you know what's really smart? You said, not thinking, it's all unconscious. Okay, if she was triggered, yes. I just couldn't imagine the context in which, okay, so you're not saying she planned it. You're saying she might have been triggered in that moment and hit him, but she followed him and harassed him. I just don't see how that's a safe space. Maybe I don't understand that idea of it being a safe space.
Dave, you want to break for any miles?
But I guarantee you somebody raised her to think that was okay behavior. That's the thing. That's what I want us to pay attention to. Somebody raised her to think this is how you treat people. And more than that, someone raised him to think he should take it. Remember that. Someone raised him to think, because he didn't call for help. He didn't scream, somebody help me. He didn't shield his hands and say, somebody help me. He was raised to believe he should take it, and she was raised to believe she could give it. And that's what we need to end. We need to end the generational, whatever that is, of thinking you're allowed to touch somebody because you're upset and that you should take it because you're a man. Right?
Can you say that we're arguing?
018 miles is 10692.
And look, we don't know that in the back of his head, he was saying, oh, just wait till I'm alone with you. Right? We don't know that in his head, he wasn't thinking, oh, just wait till I got her alone. We don't know that. We don't know that he wasn't being patient and not fighting back because he was thinking, just wait till nobody can see us. Right? We don't know that. So we have to be very cautious because we can't read minds. We don't know. We just know what we saw. And that's why even if you're a victim, you have to be even more diligent. You have to be even more careful because, like, you know what I mean?
Arguing. He can't come and vouch for me and get me out.
So she's still hoping Christian will come bail her out, it sounds like. Like we were arguing. Like she kind of really thinks he's going to come save her.
Unfortunately, no.
Like, I've never been arrested before. Even if he comes, like, there's nothing he can do to get me out.
Say again?
I've never been arrested before.
Sha'Carri Richardson was charged with 4th-degree domestic violence assault after that heated airport incident. Let me know what you think about the situation in the comments. Don't forget.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, because, you know, her boyfriend did came out and make the statement. We covered this just yesterday or 2 days ago. I think her boyfriend dropped the charges or didn't pursue the charges, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's difficult to say because, like, you can't touch people like this. You know, whoever, especially in public. Like, if you're fighting in public, like, cool down. You know, but I can't, like, we get, like, people get tense, they're arguing. But, like, to feel so emboldened to do it in public just feels so weird to me. Like, why does she feel so safe to do this? Look at it. She shoves him. She follows him. So they're arguing. It's just kind of crazy. Yeah, so he's trying to get away. She shoves him, hits him right there. Follows him. She's trying to get away, but no one's doing anything. That's what's even crazier. And he's not calling out for help, which I'm sorry that he didn't feel safe enough to do that. Then she shoves him. Like, what is this, a bar? Like, she full on shoves him, bro. He almost falls. Like, this is too crazy for me. I can't process this. She just, boom. Look at that. His leg is in the air. He almost lost complete balance. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, there's no excuse for this. Like, how do you explain this away? I don't care if she found out he was cheating. I don't care about anything. I mean, look, even if, like, she just found out he killed her mother, I could understand losing your mind, right? Like, oh my God, you killed my mom. I've lost my mind. But that doesn't look like that, does it? It's not like that, right? Yeah, Chess says she shows no awareness of what the behavior means, having no shame. Yeah, but like both of them, it's like both of them think they're in a bubble. Nobody could see them. Aren't they both acting like no one is there in the airport for some reason? But to be fair, everybody else is acting like nothing's happening. No one's interrupting them. No one's pulling them apart. It's probably because he's not fighting her either. But look, nobody's like doing anything. Look, this person right here doesn't even look up. Is everyone just so, oh no, she looks. But is nobody like, is everyone just so glued to their phone that nobody cares? I don't know. Chet says, I wonder what part of this analysis of what might have happened and what their thoughts are. Thoughts are us for the community. We don't know their things. As a victim, it didn't help me or make me feel safe. We're doing it for ourselves though. Because like, we're not doing it for Sha'Carri, obviously. We don't know the situation. We don't watch their lives to really figure out what's happening there. We watch their lives to figure out our own. Okay? So like for me, I think the dilemma we're going to find is like these things didn't just happen. Right? We don't just choose abusive partners. Abusive partners don't just choose us. These are products of our upbringing, right? We don't know why. We know people end up in abusive relationships for reasons. If we can figure out these reasons, we can mitigate the harm. We know people become abusers. They weren't born abusive. The question is, can we do anything to intercept the chances of a child growing up to be an abuser? And yes, there's work we can do, but we have to first acknowledge that we are raising kids to be abusive, right? Like, we are raising kids to be abusive, and we're raising society to ignore the abuse because we love the people we love. And I'm saying you can love people and hold them accountable, you know? But obviously babies aren't born abusers. The question is, how did we grow up to become abusive? And yes, there are rare circumstances in which I do believe a person is going to be abusive regardless of the interception, right? Or be abusive regardless of the help they get. And those people would be, I think, the minority, right? But I refuse to believe that most people are born bad. And I do believe it's our responsibility as a community to lift each other up and to protect people by, sadly, investing in the future. I worry about the people who exist now because I don't know how much we can help a lot of those people. I think victims, we have to help. We have to help victims, right? So I'm with you on that. I don't know how much we can help abusers because they might be too far gone. And that's why we need really, we need the funding for people. You know, I heard Trump, one of my viewers said Trump actually got rid of a lot of the mental health care for soldiers. And that's the problem. We are defunding mental health, right? But my hope is that we review these stories in a way to prevent it in future kids. You know, Chad said, fair, good to know why we're doing this. Yeah, I always want my channel to be a place where we try to prevent harm by figuring out why it happened and then making sure that victims are always the priority.